have two very special guests with me today to talk about a new graphic novel from Legendary Comics. That would be Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, starring Boris Karloff. That hit stores October 22nd. And what makes it so special is that for the first time in an adaptation of the novel, it's drawn by Kerry Gammill with Boris Karloff's likeness. And so my guests are Robert Napton, who is the scriptwriter for this graphic novel, and Boris Karloff's daughter, Sara Karloff. Thank you both for joining me. Sara, what does this mean for you to have this graphic novel adaptation using your father's likeness and a chance to bring another performance to life?
It means the world to me. It really does. I am so thrilled with this book, and I'm so thrilled with Carrie's representation of my father. It's brilliant. It absolutely is brilliant. He's captured his likeness in the creature pictorially, and then in parts of the book he's captured. My father's been captured with his gentleness. So
Oh,
I'm
absolutely.
just thrilled with the book. Absolutely thrilled with the book in every way, and every team member who worked on it. I try to thank and congratulate through Robert.
What kind of give and take did you have with Kerry Gammill about your father's image?
Very little is due to his genius. I mean, I was shown this one or that one or which one of these, but it's all Carrie's work, truly.
Robert, in writing the script and talking over story with Kerry, it's mostly the novel with some moments from the movie, and you fixed coincidences from the novel for a more modern feel. What were you looking for in adapting this and to give great moments for the Boris Karloff likeness?
Well, yeah, so our approach to this one was a little different. I mean, when we did Bram Stoker's Dracula, I mean, both novels look, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, Bram Stoker's Dracula are works of genius, many, 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 many years apart. Obviously, Mary Shelley preceded Bram Stoker by decades and obviously preceded Jules Verne and H.G. Wells. And in many ways, I think she is arguably the mother of science fiction. So there's a lot there, and our job is, we can't do every comma, every word from the novels. That's what the novels are there for. So the idea is to take, the essence of the story and the essence of the plot and present it in as faithfully as possible in the graphic novel space, in the graphic novel medium, much more faithfully than the movies attempted to do, because the needs of the movies were different, especially in the 1920s and 30s, So, and Kerry very specifically was like, look, on Frankenstein, I mean, I think he's preparing his whole life to work on these two graphic novels.
I think you're right.
He's such a monster kid, and he loves both the actors so much. And so, he had a lot of great ideas and really wanted to kind of, spearhead the adaptation. And there are certain contrivances and coincidences in both novels and subplots that, we tried to tighten up just because we didn't have 500 pages of comic art to tell the story. We had a certain amount we were trying to do. So yeah, I mean, I guess there is no short answer. It's just a process of like, what's really important. We all read the novel again and figuring out what is the most important moments of the story and keeping those in place. And Sarah's being kind of modest. She was certainly very, very, we got her blessing and her encouragement really on the idea of redesigning the creature using her father's likeness is, it's a bold move in some ways. And I was so happy that she was so enthusiastically on board with that idea of reimagining Frankenstein's creature with her father's likeness and doing something new that honored him and honored Mary Shelley. And that was the first big challenge. And Kerry really tackled that. And then when it came to actually producing the interior artwork, Kerry and L. Garing, who worked together on Dracula, worked together again on each page. So they both kind of touch everything when it comes to making the interior of the comics. And they just work really well together. They complement each other, and I really appreciate everything they put into it for sure.
What about the work striking the balance between Boris Karloff's film portrayal and how the monster would be in the book? I love the moments. My favorites are when half the face looks like the original Universal makeup by Jack Pierce, and the other half shows the brightness of Karloff himself. Was that all three of you working together to try to figure out that right look?
One thing Sarah said at the beginning, and we agreed was we wanted Boris Karloff and the empathy and the humanity that was so, it was just him in his face and his eyes, and that's what made his performance so iconic. And we, as Sarah mentioned to me, her father often referred to the creature as the creature, not the monster. He didn't necessarily see him as a monster in quotes. He saw him as this, the empathy and the pathos, and all those qualities. So we absolutely wanted to recreate that, and that's very much in Mary Shelley's novel. I mean, she had great sympathy, for this creature who is created by a man who then abandons him, and then he kind of has to make his way through the world and figure things out, and he's not all there at times because he has this just rage of a child, but he has this superhuman body. So it's a fascinating character, which is why it's endured for so long. And Karloff is, to me, and I've said this before, and it's the truth, he is the definitive portrayal of this character. There's, other actors will do it and other actors have done it, but he's the iconic face of this particular character and story. So we just wanted to honor him, but also try to do something new and also honor the text of Mary Shelley. So yeah, it was just a juggling act of all those elements, but Sarah was really supportive of everything. And that gave us a lot of confidence because she speaks for her father, in the way that he is not able to. So that meant a lot to us that we had her support.
It was easy to do, support what they were doing.
Sarah, you're the keeper and protector of your father's legacy. What does his legacy mean to you? And what do you hope it means for our culture?
Well, my father's legacy to me is very, very precious, but my father's legacy is thanks to the fans. They are wonderful. And I have learned so much from the fans. They know far more about his career than I could ever learn. And I have learned so many heartwarming stories from the fans. It's just incredible and heartwarming because they tell me these wonderful family stories about what my father's films have meant to, say, their grandmother or to them, or to their grandchildren. The Frankenstein story, as much as the Frankenstein character, is so multi-generational in its appeal and in its longevity. It's amazing to me the grandchildren that I meet who know the dialogue, such as it is, but the dialogue verbatim. And it's because their grandparents have sat down with them with either the book, Mary Shelley's book, or with watching the films. and it is, and then they've sat down with their children, and then the children have sat down with their children, and it amazes me how multi-generational this story is in its various forms. Various forms of watching it or reading it or learning about it. And the fans have told me what an influence my father has had on them, what an influence this character has had on them. And I mean, what could be more rewarding than for me than learning about your grandparent or your parent uh, from someone outside the family time and time again. I mean, I'm the most fortunate person in the world, and of course, I am nothing but a conduit for these people who wish they'd had an opportunity to tell these stories to my father himself. And so it's a learning experience every time I go to a convention, every time I meet a fan. It's a learning experience for me, and it's never been a negative experience. So every time I agree to do a convention, I look forward to it. You hear about people, celebrities, who complain about fans, and I think you got it all wrong. You really have it all wrong. So recently, I've been asked to do an article about fans because I mean, without fans of my father's, I'd be home cleaning my own oven and not talking to you. So I just feel so fortunate that my father was the type of man he was and the type of celebrity he was. He was he was so grateful for the career he had and the good breaks he had. But he'd been in the business 20 years before he ever got his break. Frankenstein was his 81st film, and as he said, nobody ever saw the first 80. So, I mean, he really appreciated the role of Frankenstein because it made such a pivotal difference in his life and in his career, and so he was just a lovely, lovely human being, and I reap these tremendous rewards every time I meet a fan.
I can't follow that. Thank you both so much. Thank you for watching. Please be sure to creepily caress the subscribe button to be sure you don't miss out on any ghoulish gifts from the fanboy planet Crypt. And who knows? I may one day find my way back out of the catacombs and into dim light again.